for being here. I remember the one time I got an opportunity to meet you, I joked with you last time that we were this close. You were speaking at my high school graduation, 1996. I know that probably wasn't a big deal, but I don't think you did a lot of graduation ceremonies back then. But you had delivered, to and working in the ER in Roseburg, Glide High School.
I remember the one.
Yeah.
One of the graduates I delivered, right?
Yeah,
Yes, I
Abby.
remember this, yeah.
And you told her dad in 1978, the night you were elected, that
Abby
if you were
Finch.
ever, yep,
Yeah.
if you were ever in office still, that you would speak at her graduation. You told her dad that, and you actually did that and lived up to your word. And I think that's, was a demonstration of, your character and stuff. And I think that's also why, part of this process, was more of a sad story because how you were revered. And I think that what you demonstrated here was incredible. And I think that if some of that level of contrition, showed up in the statement in November, there probably would have been a more sympathetic group of commissioners at that time, because I think it was a little bit absent. And it actually sounded like a, campaign consultant getting his candidate ready for the next race versus, just owning the situation. And like I said, this morning was, was definitely different than that. I guess two questions I have. The first would be, one of the statements in the emails talked about, you acknowledging to Ms. Hayes how your work, could become our work.
Yep.
And I think that would give the impression that, if your household income is impacted by, her activities, if there was a little bit of gray area, so be it, and I think that's where some of the confusion would come up. So I'll give you a moment to address that after this next point. But the second is that there were multiple, in the investigation, it came up that there was invoices, going to, accounts payable invoices for Sylvia's business, going to the governor's mansion, Mahoning Hall. There's an early question about, that shows up in the report about Ms. Hayes' contract work. With respect to use of Mahoning Hall, the strict interpretation of the law would include a prohibition of Mahoning Hall, a state-owned facility. And I'm surprised that this didn't come up in an actual violation, but it seems that, and I know in your report, you acknowledge that neither one of you really lived, the governor didn't really live there, she didn't really live there. So it gave the impression that the governor's mansion was being used to operate her own business from. My question would be first, did the governor know that? Because obviously it was a concern because she called somebody and the response was in writing. And that looks like a more of a use of office, issue.
Yeah,
Could Governor Kitzhaber respond to that?
There's maybe a legal aspect, but let me, particularly the first question,
You handle it.
counsel. So let me do the second one first. So I did not track her business. Her, just wasn't something I did. I do know that there was an opinion. I remember, and I don't know whether there was an opinion. I do remember that she had an interview at the mansion early on, and I think it might have even have been with Jeff Mapes. I can't remember who, but I thought there was some conversation about sort of the sideboards of what you could and couldn't do in the administration. She was probably there as much as I was, or maybe even more. We just didn't intersect very often. And there was a formal opinion, and I think I saw it somewhere in the report about the sideboard. So I think that's an issue that belongs more squarely in the evaluation you're making of her actions. But I did not, I would tell you just quite frankly, I did not follow her business, where she was, her billings, etc. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. On the first question, that was a fairly personal email that I wrote, and this was very early on, so I could just give you some context, and I can understand how you could come to that conclusion, or at least that perception. So, as I said, when we met, we were very, very policy aligned on a number of areas. she wanted to save the world. I used to think I wanted to save the world. I'm older and wiser now and know that that's probably not going to happen. But we were very impassioned about certain things together. And when I ran, she was very supportive of that and saw it as an opportunity that we could continue to advance these things that we cared about. When I got elected, it was a big boost for my career, and it was pretty much of a body blow for hers. And I was living the dream. I'll just tell you, I felt that everything I'd done since Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in 1978, which is what got me into politics, was sort of preparing me for this moment, this big budget crisis, this opportunity to kind of get past partisan politics, and I was where I wanted to be, and she was really struggling. And that comment was basically saying, I believe that we're going to find a way so that the work that you do to, for example, move to a low-carbon economy is something we'll be doing together at some point, that your work and my work will be aligned. It had nothing to do with, it was a policy statement. It wasn't about paid income. I didn't have a lot of time to spend with her. I was pretty preoccupied, and I had this whole group of policy people that I was talking to, and it was a tough time for her. But that was the genesis of that comment, and it was really more focused on the policy work we've been doing than any particular job or paid employment. She was